Good morning to all of you students. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic from your human resources management point of view for semester 2 MBA course, which is industrial relation, trade unions and employee welfare, which is unit 9 of your particular syllabus. We have discussed a few of these terms in the earlier online class that we had, so you will be having a little bit of ease while understanding the concepts over here. We'll be discussing them one by one in the video. Now, starting with industrial relationship, we need to understand what is industrial relationship. Now, in terms of industrial relationship, we have the three participants in industrial relationships, which is the employer, the state government and the workers. Now imagine that to be a hypothetical triangle, and each of them are interacting with each other to create the maximum utility for each other, to create the maximum value for each other. The worker is working for the employer, and the employer is indirectly on a dotted line responsibility working with the government to ensure that all the people in the country are able to achieve their desired goal. The workers are able to get their share of salary. The employers are able to generate their particular level of profits, and the state government is able to create a state of welfare in the entire country. So these are the three actors in industrial relationships. Now, whenever we talk about industrial relationships, it is the relationships between the employer or the worker, between the employer and the government, between the worker and the government, or either of the combinations. So these three will be the primary constituents, and the interrelationships between these three actors or these three participants is what is called industrial relations. The worker may have a complaint, he may go to the state government, he may go to the court, labor court. That is one way of interacting. The state government may issue a particular notice to the employer. That may be another way of interacting with these between these two particular entities. Or the employer and the worker may have some regular interaction which keeps on happening inside of a company, inside of a particular establishment. So these are the relationships that we are talking about in industrial relations. This is the meaning of industrial relations on an overall. Moving forward, while we look at industrial relations, it is very important to understand that each of the entities, the employees, the employers and the government, excuse me for the typo over here, instead of employees it should be employers on the top one, pink side, pink box, it should be employers, not employees. So each of the entities that we discussed, the employees, the employers and the government, they have their individual entities through which they form associations and unions, and they devise methods and means to improve these industrial relations. Like the employers might have an employers association. Suppose we are talking about the telecom sector, then probably Reliance, Airtel, Vodafone. So if they combine together and they try to devise a particular method to improve the industrial relation, or to find out what's happening in the other company, or what's happening across the world, so that is an employer association that we're talking about. The employees in a similar way also have a method to collaborate among themselves, to form unions, to form a particular group through which they can interact. Because individually if they go and fight with the employers, or individually if they go and fight with the government, maybe the government will not listen to each and every demand that they're putting forward. But once they are registered as a trade union, once they are registered as a group, once they are registered as a entity, the voice becomes heard. Their voice becomes heard in at the various forums. Even the media, or the third person, fourth pillar of this industrial relation, which is media and the press, even they can get involved when the people are forming a particular union. They are in a group. The voices become properly listened to. And the third one, entity, government, can also form their courts and tribunals and labor courts to solve the problems in the industrial relations. So any issues that erupts in the industrial relations, the employers, employees, and the government have their rights and privileges to form their associations, unions, and mechanisms. For the government, it can be mechanisms or bodies or committees so that they can solve the problems with the industrial relations. So that is how things progress. Now, why is it important that the industrial relations be good in a particular country or good in a particular organization or an industry? Why was it thought that it's an mandatory, it's an imperative thing that it should be done? From the worker's perspective, the worker, as a result of good industrial relations, will be able to get a better pay. There will be workplace safety, there will be job security, there will be training. Now, try to understand, industrial relation is a concept which is around 50-60 years old. It is at the time of World War One, World War II, that the concept of worker perspective, or maybe employee welfare and things like that started gaining traction. It is at this time that people wanted that industries get in a better shape. We are able to generate efficient and effective results and production. And it was at that time that these particular concepts of industrial relationships was at a high. It was at that time that people wanted that the maximum productivity from the workers be extracted. The employers wanted in a similar way. So if we are looking at the concept, because in today's time, if you look at, the companies will hardly find industrial relations happening, because we are more into a services sector now. We are more into services. The products are suddenly vanishing. The products are fewer in number, and the services sector has overtaken the industrial or the manufacturing units. So when you look at these perspectives, you have to understand we are talking about a time which is around 50 to 60 years back, because this course is an old course which was relevant at that point of time. We still have industrial relations in the various companies that we have, but look at the percentage number of the industries is declining. Now we have organizations which are more of a service nature. So that was the clarity that I wanted to make as of now. Now, from the worker's perspective, the worker gets a better pay, workplace safety, he gets job security, he gets training if he's formed into a union, if he's formed into a particular industrial relation entity. Now, from the employer's perspective, because of having a good industrial relation, there will be increased productivity, there will be flexibility in the workforce, employment laws will be there. They can frame their laws through the various entities that they have. They can have managing of industrial conflict will become easier for them. From the government's perspective, that is the last one, competitiveness of the industry will increase. There will be competition between the various industries that are there in the particular country. There will be reduced employment, because more employment will be generated if the good industrial relations are there. Better production will be happening. If better production is happening, there will be growth in the economy. If there is growth, then there will be extra demand in the economy. If there is extra demand, there will be more factories and industries being set up, and then that will reduce the unemployment, because the unemployed youths will be working in the new factories that have been created. So it's a chain effect, it's a vicious cycle. From the government's perspective, it is also important because in the terms of globalization, because slowly and steadily the world is trying to globalize itself. It's now a connected world. So the government stands to gain in terms of its image, in terms of its branding, that it is having a very good industrial relations in their particular country. Now, controlling the economy is also an important perspective from the government point of view. From the societal perspective, which we talked about, the fourth pillar in this entire concept, the living wages, equality of opportunity, work-life balance, and rights of the individual are taken care of. So these are the four things which will actually come into employee welfare. Whenever we are talking about the three concepts like the employee, employer, and the government, a fourth concept automatically comes in, which is employee welfare, and how all these three are working towards getting the societal perspective in place, which is the living wages, equality of opportunity, work-life balance, and rights of the individual. Now, we have to understand why unhealthy relationships between the various entities can create a problem for the individual. We'll be discussing this in the next video, because we are exceeding the time limit of 10 minutes. Thank you so much.